We just ran out of baby food for the week, and I'm going to be trying to make more baby food from the cans that I got from the food bank.
This food bank haul was such a blessing, and I'm so excited to show you how we got really creative with how we used it.
For whatever reason, I feel like canned goods get a pretty bad rap because of the amount of sodium and syrup that food is often in for preserving. And today I'm going to show you how I kind of go about mitigating that so I don't feel as bad about giving my baby a canned food, because it's still good, it's still nutritious. It's just, you just got to do an extra little step. So when I came back from the food bank, I went last Friday, I took all the cans that I was planning on using for baby food and set them aside. And I have that right here in this wonderful box. Now, of course, with anything, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check the date on the can. I've been pretty lucky so far. All the canned goods that I've received have like a year plus on them. What you're getting from the food bank isn't super close to expiring for the canned goods, at least in my experience. This past week, I did end up using 2 cans of carrots, 2 cans of peas, a little bit olive oil, some water, and then we had 2 little containers of applesauce, and I blended that all together, and that's what my son ate for the week.
What's so nice about using canned goods is it's literally built-in convenience. All you really need to do is rinse it in the sink with water, and as long as you're rinsing it for about 30 seconds, you can remove up to like 40% of salt or syrup off the food.
I always add a little bit of olive oil in for consistency as well as for the omega-3s. And then the other thing that actually can kind of like tie this together, and I think he really likes it, is just like a little tiny like teaspoon size of this Better Than Bouillon paste. So good. I swear it adds just a little bit of flavor so we can kind of get used to seasonings. And then a bit of water depending upon what I'm making. And then that should kind of do it. Now, you don't need this, but this is something that I bought about 2 years ago. It's one of those handheld blenders. This is how I make all of my baby food. You don't need to buy the fancy baby food makers that steam and do everything. It's just going to end up at a Goodwill or go to the landfill. You can just get one utensil that you can use in multiple different ways, but you don't need this. What you can do is you can also get one of those little baby food mills. That can work. I find that is a little bit better as they get older and they can have chunkier textures. And then the other thing is, because this is canned and the food is already very moist and broken down, you can just use a fork. Will that take extra time? Yes, but it is doable if you don't have the money to go and get a handheld blender. But that's what I typically use when I make all of my baby food.
I hope by showing that I'm using food bank cans that I can destigmatize using non-organic whole food for babies. I feel like the baby industry loves to use fear-mongering to make parents feel guilty about not spending money on their baby for absolutely everything, and if you don't, that you're somehow a really bad parent. And that's not the case. Being a good parent is using the resources that are around you and that you can provide. We need to stop thinking about raising children with such a consumeristic mindset. Generations before us were able to raise families without all the fancy gadgets too. So sometimes being an intentional parent just means like making baby food from cans.
Okay, this is how it looks. Now, the color I know is not super appetizing, but I actually did taste test it. It tastes pretty good. I think he's gonna like this. And I'm just now gonna put it in my containers. And we got, I think, oh, it's kind of hard to see. I'm gonna count it at 500 mils. So about half a liter of food. And I believe this can last probably at least 4 to 5 days of lunches and dinners. I do kind of just like do a batch, and then that's what he eats for lunches and dinners for the week. I know a lot of people do variety, but this is just what works for us. And that way we know he's getting nutrients and I don't have to make it super complicated. All this food came from 1 can of yams and 1 can of green beans. So this just goes to show you, you don't need to buy the little tiny jars or containers or pouches of baby food, because you can literally just use canned goods and still make it and it still works. Typically I do frozen, but when we went to the food bank, we didn't get frozen food. We got a lot of canned food, and this is how I'm using it. So everybody in the family gets fed and it's still nutritious and it can still get used.
Now, without any distractions, aka my son, You could probably make all this baby food in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. It is that easy and it's that quick.
So we got all of this baby food from just 2 cans for a point of reference. So if you're a busy working parent and you don't have time to prep, cut, steam, blend, pour tons of baby food all at one go, you can do it from cans and it takes maybe 5 minutes. So I just wanted to put this out here just to kind of show some love to our canned goods and that we can feed our babies from them. And that way we don't have to get so locked into getting baby specific stuff. The one thing though that I do get from the food bank when they have it is I do get the little jars of meat in broth because I find that I just don't do it right. And it's just, that's a little bit more convenient for me. But of course you don't need to do that. But that's what I do to add a little protein and fat to our vegetable combos. If you're in a bind, if you're debating whether or not you should like severely cut back or put on a credit card, just go to your food bank. They have so much and they just want to give it away so that it can be used, because when everybody is fed, everybody is happy and we can have a much better society with people getting their needs met.